Jack Callahan was a man of discipline, structure, and routine. After retiring from the Marine Corps, he had spent his days working small security contracts, never truly finding the excitement or purpose he once had in the field. Life had settled into a predictable rhythm. Wake up, go for a run, scan the job boards, and sometimes, if the bills weren't stacking too high, grab a drink at the bar near his apartment in Dallas. It was a quiet, mostly uneventful life, a stark contrast to his years overseas. That was, until one night, when he received an email that would change everything. It arrived at exactly 2 a.m., flagged as high priority, but with no subject line. Normally, he would have ignored something like that, probably spam or some phishing attempt, but as he hovered over the sender's name, his breath caught. Elon Musk. Not some fan account, not a scam, his actual, verifiable email. Confused, Jack opened it. Jack, I've developed a strategy to beat the casinos at their own game. It works, and I need someone like you to test it. If you're interested, meet me in Las Vegas. I'll cover everything. No tricks, just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. At first, he thought it had to be a joke. Some elaborate prank, maybe. But the message went further. It referenced things that only someone with high-level access could know. His classified missions, his medals, his injuries. None of this was public knowledge. His past wasn't something that could be Googled. Jack's hands hovered over the keyboard as he tried to process. He had never met Elon Musk, never worked for Tesla, SpaceX, or any of his ventures. What could a billionaire tech mogul possibly want with him? Skepticism warred with curiosity, but before he could talk himself out of it, he typed a short reply. If this is real, prove it. The response came just 2 minutes later. Check your phone. Jack glanced down just as his phone vibrated. A notification popped up, a first-class ticket from Dallas to Las Vegas, departing in the morning. Paid for. Verified. He stared at the screen. There were plenty of ways someone with money and power could mess with him, but the sheer speed of this response, the detail in the original message, and the fact that it was Elon Musk reaching out made it impossible to ignore. Against his better judgment, he packed a bag. The flight was smooth, but Jack barely noticed. His mind raced with possibilities. What was Musk's angle? Some kind of social experiment? A test? He had heard stories of the billionaire doing strange things, digging tunnels for fun, launching cars into space, but casino strategies? It didn't make sense. When he landed in Vegas, a sleek black Tesla was already waiting for him outside McCarran International Airport. The driver, a silent man in a dark suit, handed Jack a tablet without a word. A video message played. Jack, Musk's voice crackled through the speakers. I know this is weird, but trust me, I wouldn't waste your time. Come to the Aria Presidential Suite. The video cut off. Jack exhaled. What the hell am I doing? 15 minutes later, he was stepping into the penthouse suite of the Aria Resort and Casino. And there, sitting casually on a leather couch, was the man himself. Elon Musk. Dressed in a SpaceX hoodie and sneakers, sipping from a can of some experimental energy drink. Glad you came, Musk said, grinning. Hope the flight was decent. Jack nodded but didn't sit down. I don't like wasting time. So what's this really about? Musk leaned forward. Slots. Jack frowned. Slots? You mean slot machines? Exactly. Musk's eyes gleamed with excitement. That's where the real money is. Not blackjack, not poker, slots. Jack nearly laughed. He had been in casinos before, mostly to kill time, and if there was one universal truth about them, it was that slot machines were a losing game. They weren't just rigged against the player, they were designed to drain money, slowly and mercilessly. No strategy, no skill, just blind luck. You think you can beat slot machines? Jack asked, crossing his arms. Musk smirked. "I know I can." There was something about the way he said it, pure certainty, like he had solved an equation no one else even knew existed. Jack had seen that look before, on the faces of commanders before a risky mission, on soldiers who knew their plan would work. "How?" Jack asked. Musk stood up, pacing. "The casinos have everyone fooled. People think slots are unbeatable because they rely on random number generators. But the truth is, the machines aren't truly random. They run on algorithms, sequences, patterns. And patterns," he grinned, "can be cracked." Jack's skepticism flared again. "So you're telling me you cracked a multi-billion-dollar industry system?" Musk nodded. "Yes. I've spent the last year using AI to track the payout sequences of thousands of machines. We fed billions of data points into neural networks to detect the cycles, the hidden payout structures. And we found something incredible. Slots aren't as random as the casinos claim. They follow predictable rhythms." Jack still wasn't convinced. "Even if you know the pattern, how does that help? You can't control when the jackpot hits." Musk grinned wider. "That's where you're wrong. We can predict it. We can track which machines are primed to hit. And when they are, we strike." Jack hesitated. It sounded insane. But then again, so did reusable rockets before Musk made them a reality. "All right," Jack said finally. "Show me." Jack sat back in his chair, arms crossed, as Musk pulled up a holographic display on a sleek tablet. The screen flickered to life, showing rows upon rows of numbers, graphs, and algorithms. Data so dense it looked more like something out of a NASA mission than a casino strategy. "All right," Musk said, tapping the screen. "First, let's get one thing straight. Slot machines aren't random. At least, not in the way casinos want you to think." Jack had heard this theory before, how so-called random number generators, RNGs, weren't truly random, how they followed coded sequences, but he had never given it much thought. "Go on," he said. Musk's eyes lit up. Every slot machine in existence follows a specific payout structure. The gaming commissions require them to have a return-to-player rate, RTP, for short. That's the percentage of money wagered that a machine must pay back over time. Most machines sit between 85% and 98%. But here's the kicker. Casinos don't just let that happen randomly. They program the payouts into cycles. Meaning if you know where a machine is in its cycle, you can predict when it's due to pay out. Jack raised an eyebrow. "You're saying slot machines work on a schedule?" "Exactly," Musk said. "They don't spit out jackpots randomly. They follow a pattern, a sequence. It's disguised as randomness because the cycle is so long that an average player will never see the full picture. But when you track thousands of machines over months, you start seeing the rhythm." He pulled up another graph. It looked like a sine wave, undulating up and down in a predictable motion. These machines go through hot and cold periods. Most people keep playing even when a machine is cold, and that's how the casinos rob them blind. But if you only play during the hot cycles, Musk grinned. "You win." Jack leaned forward now, intrigued despite himself. "How do you know when a machine is in a hot cycle?" Musk swiped across the screen. A new interface appeared. Dozens of live feeds from casino floors across the country. AI-powered overlays tracked individual machines, analyzing data in real time. "I built a system that monitors payout histories, wager amounts, and real-time gameplay to determine which machines are close to a payout." Jack whistled. "You're spying on the casinos?" Musk laughed. "Not exactly. Everything we pull is legal. Publicly visible data, security feeds, jackpot announcements. We don't hack anything. We just see better than anyone else." He zoomed in on a particular machine in the Bellagio. "See this one?" It's taken in over $150,000 in bets since its last major payout, but its RTP suggests it's due for a big hit within the next 300 spins. Statistically, the next qualified player who sits down has a 78% chance of hitting a major payout. Jack exhaled. It was one thing to think slot machines followed a pattern. It was another to see it mapped out in real time. So you just wait for these machines to hit their payout threshold and cash in? Musk nodded. It's a waiting game. That's where you come in. Most gamblers don't have patience. They play emotionally, waste money chasing losses. I need someone with discipline, someone who can follow the system to the letter. Jack smirked. And let me guess, you can't do this yourself because the casinos would recognize you the second you walked in? Musk shrugged. Something like that. He leaned forward. I want to prove this works at scale. And if you help me, we split the winnings, 50-50. Jack considered it. The whole thing was crazy, but the data was hard to ignore. All right, he said. I'm in. But I have one question. What happens if the casinos catch on? Musk's grin widened. They won't. Because we're not cheating. We're just playing smarter than they ever expected. The next night, Jack found himself walking through the dazzling halls of the Aria Casino, the sound of ringing slot machines and flashing lights filling the air. He had been in casinos before, but this time, he wasn't here for fun. He was here on a mission, one designed by Elon Musk himself. His instructions were clear: follow the system, trust the data, and show no emotion. The plan was simple in theory: locate a machine flagged as hot, play it methodically, and cash out as soon as it hit. But standing in the sea of flashing lights and desperate gamblers, Jack felt the weight of the situation. If Musk was right, he was about to make more money in a single night than he had in his entire military pension. If Musk was wrong, he was just another sucker feeding a slot machine. Jack adjusted the hidden earpiece in his ear. On the other end was Musk, monitoring everything through a live casino surveillance network. The AI had already identified the target machine, a Dragon's Fortune 88 slot, located near the casino bar. Jack spotted it easily. A middle-aged man was playing it, his shoulders slumped in frustration. Jack could tell, this guy had been here for hours, feeding the machine, waiting for a miracle. That was mistake number one. Playing without a strategy. Machine 17C, Musk's voice crackled in his ear. It's primed. You're up next. Jack didn't react. He simply walked past the machine, waiting for the player to give up. 2 minutes later, the man sighed, muttered a curse, and stood up. Jack smoothly slid into the vacant seat and inserted a $100 bill. All right, Musk said. Listen carefully. The cycle suggests a big hit within the next 50 to 80 spins. Play minimum bets first, and when I tell you, increase your wager. Jack nodded subtly and pressed the spin button. The reels blurred, then stopped. Nothing. Another spin. Nothing. He wasn't fazed. The real test was following the system. He played slowly, methodically, never overbetting, never chasing losses. After 30 spins, Musk's voice returned. Okay. Now increase your bet to Mac. Jack did as instructed. The screen flashed, $10 per spin now. His balance started dropping faster. Spin 32. Nothing. Spin 35. A small win. Spin 40. Break even. And spin 47. Jackpot. The machine lit up, sirens blaring. The screen exploded with gold coins. $42,500. Jack exhaled slowly. Around him, people turned, eyes widening. Casino staff moved in to verify the win. Jack kept his face neutral, acting like it was just dumb luck. Inside, though, his pulse was pounding. It worked. It actually worked. Not bad, Musk's voice smirked in his ear. Now cash out and walk away. We don't play past the win. Ever. Jack followed the protocol. He took the payout, declined further play, and walked toward the exit. But as he reached the door, something caught his attention. Security watching him. Two men in suits, murmuring into earpieces. Looks like we have company, Jack muttered. Stay calm, Musk replied. They don't know anything yet. Just walk out casually. Jack exited the casino and slipped into the waiting Tesla, his adrenaline still high. He turned to the driver, another one of Musk's people. What now? Musk's voice came through the car's speakers. Now we scale up. This was just the beginning. Jack woke up the next morning in his luxury suite, the weight of last night's victory still sinking in. The money was real. $42,500 wired directly into his account. He had followed Musk's system to the letter, and it had paid off. But something gnawed at him. The security team watching him as he left? That wasn't nothing. Casinos didn't like to lose, and they sure as hell didn't like people who beat them at their own game. His phone buzzed. Musk. Morning, soldier, Musk greeted, his voice carrying an edge of amusement. Sleep well knowing you just pulled off the first confirmed AI-assisted slot machine win in history? Jack smirked. I slept fine. But I think we got their attention. Yeah, Musk admitted. That was expected. Casinos have sophisticated tracking systems. They'll be reviewing the footage right now, trying to figure out if you were just lucky or if something else is at play. Jack exhaled, running a hand through his short-cropped hair. And if they figure out something is at play, they'll make your life difficult, Musk admitted. But don't worry, we have countermeasures. Jack had spent his life facing enemies with guns, not suits and security cameras. But as he sat up in bed, he realized the battlefield had changed. Musk's system worked, but now the casino was on alert. Later that day, Jack was back at the Aria, walking the floor like any other gambler. This time, he wasn't playing, he was observing. Security had doubled. He recognized some of the same guys from last night, scanning the crowd, watching for anything suspicious. Musk's voice crackled in his earpiece. Told you they'd react. Jack smirked, pretending to check his phone. You enjoy this, don't you? Of course, Musk chuckled. I love a good game of cat and mouse. But be careful. They can't accuse you of cheating, because you're not. But they can ban you if they think you're an advantage player. Jack frowned. Advantage player? Thought that was just for card counters in blackjack. Nope, Musk said. Slot players who win too much get flagged, too. If they think you have an edge, they'll shut you down. Jack processed that. He had spent his life following rules of engagement, playing within the boundaries of warfare. This was different. This was war, but the enemy made the rules, and they could change them at any time. Then, something happened that made his stomach tighten. A hostess approached him, a practiced smile on her face. Mr. Callahan? Jack turned to her, keeping his expression neutral. Yeah. She handed him a gold VIP card. The casino would love to offer you a complimentary stay. Dinner, drinks, a private suite, all on the house. Jack didn't react, but inside, alarms were blaring. This was classic casino psychology. When someone wins big, they don't ban them immediately. Instead, they make them feel like a VIP. They give them free rooms, free booze, anything to lure them back, get them comfortable, and eventually make them lose it all. Jack took the card, nodding. Appreciate it. As she walked away, Musk's voice came through the earpiece, laced with amusement. They're baiting you. I know, Jack muttered. Good, Musk said. Because we're not here to fall for their games. We're here to break them. Jack exhaled. The war had begun. Jack had been in plenty of battles before, some with bullets, some with mines, but never one quite like this. The casinos were closing in, and he knew it. The moment they handed him that gold VIP card, it wasn't a reward, it was a leash. They wanted him to come back, get comfortable, and most importantly, start losing. But Jack wasn't here to lose. He was here to win. Musk had laid out the new plan. No more small wins. They had enough data now. It was time for a major payout, something that would shake the system. They had identified a Dragon's Fury Ultra machine at the Bellagio, one of the highest-paying slots in Vegas. Based on the AI's analysis, it had reached a critical cycle, meaning it was statistically due for a six-figure jackpot. Jack arrived at the Bellagio dressed like any other high roller. No hoodie, no military posture, just a relaxed, wealthy gambler. The casino wanted him to play, so he gave them what they expected. He accepted their free drinks, smiled at the cocktail waitresses, and made small talk with other players. But the entire time, his mind was locked onto one goal, Machine 24F. Musk's voice came through the earpiece. "All right, Jack. This is the one. Max payout estimate, $250,000 to $500,000. We go in, hit it, and disappear. You ready?" Jack sat down and fed in his bankroll, $5,000 in credits. To anyone watching, he was just another big spender chasing a dream. But in reality, he was executing the most calculated slot machine hit in history. "Start slow," Musk instructed. "Minimum bets. Let the machine warm up." Jack followed orders. Spin after spin, nothing major. Small payouts, minor losses. He had to look natural. After 40 spins, Musk's voice sharpened. "All right. We're in the window. Increase to max bet." Jack pressed the button. $100 per spin. His credits dropped fast. Spin 43. Nothing. Spin 48. Small win. Spin 55. Balance dangerously low. Spin 60. Jackpot sequence activated. The machine flashed. The reels slowed. Time stretched. Then, boom. The slot exploded with lights and sirens. $312,000. Jack exhaled slowly, keeping his expression calm even as people around him gasped. The casino pit bosses snapped their heads toward him. This wasn't a normal win. This was statistical murder. Musk's voice came through fast. "Cash out. Now." Jack stood, keeping his movements smooth. A host was already rushing over, smiling, congratulating him, stalling him. "Let's get you set up in our VIP lounge," she said, all honey and charm. Jack smiled back. "I'm good. Just cashing out." Her expression flickered, just for a second. They knew. Security was already moving in, earpieces buzzing. Jack could feel it, the shift in energy. The casino wasn't celebrating his win. They were assessing a threat. Musk's voice was clipped. "Jack, get out of there. Now." Jack grabbed the payout slip and walked fast toward the exit. A security guard stepped into his path. "Sir, we'd like to ask you a few questions." Jack smiled coolly. "Is there a problem?" "No problem," the guard said. "Just a routine check." Bullshit. This was detention. The casino couldn't legally accuse him of cheating, because he hadn't cheated. But they could stall him, pressure him, try to get him to confess to something. Jack assessed his options. He had two choices: play along and risk getting locked in a back room for hours, or make a move. Musk's voice came low and firm. "Jack, left side exit. Now." Jack didn't hesitate. He pivoted hard, slipped through a row of slot machines, and headed straight for the side door. The security guard hesitated. He couldn't just chase after a high roller without cause. That hesitation was all Jack needed. He pushed through the exit and into a waiting Tesla. The moment the door shut, the car accelerated. Musk's voice came through the speakers. "You just stole $312,000 from the biggest casino in Vegas." Jack grinned. "Not stolen. Earned." The Tesla glided silently through the desert highway, the neon chaos of the Las Vegas Strip shrinking behind Jack. The city had been a battlefield tonight, one where the enemy never held a gun but had entire floors of surveillance, teams of analysts, and an empire built on deception. And yet, against all odds, Jack had walked away the victor. The casino wouldn't forget him. The security staff, the pit bosses, the so-called hosts who had smiled while planning to trap him, all of them would be scrambling now, watching footage, running data, and trying to understand what had just happened. But Jack already knew what their conclusion would be. They'd call it luck. They had no proof otherwise. Because he hadn't cheated. He had simply played the game better than they ever imagined possible. Musk's voice crackled through the car's speakers, snapping him out of his thoughts. "Congratulations, Jack. You just did what every gambler in history has dreamed of. You took the house's money, and you got away." Jack smirked, still coming down from the adrenaline. "You make it sound easy." Musk chuckled. "Oh, it wasn't. Casinos don't like losing. The moment you hit that jackpot, they went into full lockdown mode." Jack exhaled, thinking back to the moment he cashed out. The pit bosses had been too slow. Security had been too hesitant. If he had waited a minute longer, they would have blocked the payout, called him in for routine verification, and stalled him until they could find an excuse to keep his money. "But," Musk continued, "you played it perfectly. No hesitation, no second-guessing. That's why you're still breathing desert air and not locked in some back room answering questions." Jack shook his head. "I've been in plenty of high-pressure situations, but that was something else." Musk's voice carried a note of satisfaction. "And yet, you handled it like a pro." The Tesla took a sharp turn onto a private airstrip, where a sleek Gulfstream G700 jet sat waiting under dim floodlights. As the car slowed to a stop, the door hissed open, and Jack stepped out. The warm desert breeze carried the faint scent of jet fuel. He adjusted his jacket, still feeling the weight of the $312,000 cashier's check in his pocket. Then, Musk emerged. This time, there was no screen between them. No encrypted voice channels, no satellite relays, just the two of them standing face to face for the first time since the job began. Musk was dressed casually, black jeans, a dark Tesla hoodie, and sneakers, but his expression was pure calculated energy. The kind of look that belonged to a man who didn't just play games, he built them. Jack crossed his arms. "So what now? We disappear." Musk smirked. "Oh, they'll look for you. Not openly, of course. They'll run background checks, call in their analytics teams, and try to piece together what happened. But they'll never figure it out." Jack raised an eyebrow. "And if they do?" Musk shrugged. "Then they'll change their machines, tweak their algorithms, and pretend they were never beaten. Casinos never admit defeat. That's their biggest weakness." Jack thought about that. He had fought enemies who would burn entire cities before admitting failure. But here, the casinos would rewrite history before letting the world know someone had cracked their system. "So this is it?" Jack asked. "The end of the road?" Musk chuckled. "Not even close." Jack frowned. "I thought you just wanted to prove your strategy worked." Musk's grin widened. "Jack, I don't just test theories. I build empires." Jack narrowed his eyes. "What are you saying?" Musk took a step closer. "The casino strategy was just one application. What we just did, Tracking patterns, reading data, exploiting weaknesses in a system. That's not just about gambling. He gestured toward the jet. That's about every financial system in the world. Jack's pulse quickened. You're talking about more than slot machines. Musk nodded. Think about it. The stock market runs on patterns. Real estate cycles, predictable algorithms. Cryptocurrency trading, pure data science. What we just pulled off in Vegas. We can do the same thing to Wall Street, to global markets, to any system built on numbers and greed. Jack exhaled, his mind racing. He had spent years playing by someone else's rules, following orders, executing missions, never questioning the larger picture. But now he was standing at the edge of something much bigger. Musk smiled, reading his expression. So, what do you say? Want to keep playing small? Or do you want to be filthy rich, permanently? Jack didn't even hesitate. Hell yes. 1 year later, Jack stood on the balcony of his private estate in Monaco, the Mediterranean breeze warm against his skin. Below him, the city shimmered in the twilight, luxury yachts lined up along the docks like pieces on a chessboard. A far cry from where he had been just a year ago. His phone buzzed. Musk. Jack answered. What's up? Remember when we broke the casinos? Musk asked casually. Jack smirked. Hard to forget. Well, Musk continued, I just found an even bigger system to break. Jack's smile widened. You in? Musk asked. Jack turned to the ocean, feeling the weight of his new life. The wealth, the power, the knowledge that he had beaten the system at its own game. He didn't hesitate. Hell yes.